Hey team, Brittany here. Hope you're all having a great day and a great week. I have some notes I'm super excited to share with you guys tonight. It's something that I have been doing a lot of research and studying and personal development on myself the last few months. In years past, I've chosen a word for the year, something I want to work on for that year. But this year, instead of doing that, I've chosen kind of a theme for this year, and it's becoming a person of influence. And I never realized how actually important that is in our businesses, but it could literally make or break your business if you are a person of influence or not. I didn't fully understand or appreciate what all went into becoming a person of influence and being a person of influence. So this is going to be a journey that I'm on, and I wanted to share it with you guys as I go. Feel free to drop notes in the comments, questions, any comments, things that come to mind throughout this video. I have them turned off so I won't see them until the end, just because it distracts me sometimes, but feel free to do that along the way. If you have questions at the end, feel free to message me privately. If you don't want to drop them in the comments below, that's totally fine. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I've got 3 pages of notes here. I'm super excited to share these with you guys. And tonight we're going to be focusing on something that could, again, make or break your business. We're going to be talking a lot about influence over the next year. Hopefully you have a pen and paper in hand, and we are going to go ahead and get started. One thing that I want to talk about before we even get into influence is something that you have to have before you can be a person of influence, and that's a clear message. You have to have a clear message before you can influence anybody. They have to know what your message is. I'm going to give you a quick example. If you guys go ahead, and this is something you can go ahead and comment on now. Who remembers the big presidential election we had a few years ago? What was Hillary Clinton's campaign slogan? What was her message? What was the one thing out there that she wanted to get across to people? If you remember, go ahead and type that in now. And then I'm going to say, on the other hand, what was Donald Trump's campaign slogan? What was the thing that his message, the thing that he was trying to convey to the American people to get them to vote for him? Does anybody know what Trump's campaign slogan was? Everybody knows his, Make America Great Again, right? Like him or hate him, Trump had an extremely clear message. He said it over and over and over. There was no questioning what his message was, right? There's been other leaders in history in the past. Hitler was one of them. I don't know if you guys have ever read any of Hitler's speeches. I'm not saying he's a person that you need to emulate in your everyday life, but I have read his speeches. I actually memorized one of his speeches in speech class in college, and it was an incredible speech. If you didn't know that Hitler was the one who had written it, then you would 100% have been behind it, because his speeches all had a clear message, and it was to make their nation great. Now, he went about it the wrong way, obviously, but he had a clear message, so he had followers. In the same way, we have to make sure that we have a very, very, very clear message if we're going to have followers, if we're going to influence people. They can't be wondering, what is it they stand for again, or what is it they're selling, or what are they doing, what's their attitude, what do they stand for? They have to have something that when they think of you and your brand, because you are the brand. Plexus is not your brand. You are the brand. People buy you. They buy the vision for your team. They buy the products because of you before they even care what the products are. You are the brand, not Plexus. And so you have to have a clear message. For me, I personally chose my message, and hopefully some of you guys have picked up on this, but freedom. And that can convey different things. Health freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, even freedom from diets, because I joke around all the time. Everybody knows my love for tacos, but that's another form of freedom, right? So everything that I do tries to point to some sort of freedom. Again, time with my daughter, financial freedom, being able to travel. There's a consistent message that I try to convey in all my posts. Every post that I make on Instagram and Facebook is extremely intentional. Even if it seems innocuous, even if it's a funny joke about completing a 12-week diet in 3 hours and 11 minutes, even if it's something like that, that was still to convey a certain point to my audience. It's to attract people to my page through humor, through inspiration. I want there to be a message that people, when they think of me, there's something in particular that they think of in a positive way. And that can be different for everybody. I'm not saying that has to be your message, but you need to think about what you want your message to be, and then you need to be extremely consistent with it. If there is something that you are considering posting on Facebook or Instagram that does not fall in complete alignment with your message, then don't post it. Send it to somebody privately. If there's something that you in particular, you want them to see that post, send it to them privately, okay? Don't be sharing every Vine video. Don't be posting all kinds of crazy stuff on Facebook and Instagram just to be putting it out there for people. You need to make sure that everything that you do is extremely intentional and consistent with your message, because it has to be clear. So that's going to lead us into influence, because once you have a message, then you can influence people with that message. And influence is something that you should just master just for every part of your life. It's important, just for being a human being. And there's 3 different points under influence that I'm going to talk about tonight, 3 main points here. The first one, to be a person of influence, we have to be able to relate to people. We have to listen more than we talk. We have to know what it is that they're trying to say and how they're feeling. We need to empathize with people, not just putting ourselves in their shoes, but how are they feeling in their shoes? How are they feeling? What are their circumstances that are making them feel that way? We need to look through everything through their eyes and their point of view. We need to have deep, authentic, vulnerable relationships with people, not superficial, not for your own benefit, but we need to have very deep, real relationships with people. For someone who's a natural introvert, that was really hard for me to open up to people, to share, to be vulnerable. But the more I did that, then the more people were drawn to me, because they felt they could trust me, because I was being real and I was being open. One of my best friends now, her name is Stephanie. She's actually on this team. They're moving this weekend, so I don't know if she's watching this call. But one of my best friends, Stephanie, will tell you, we met years ago. She didn't like me very much when we first met. Because I was very shy, I was very timid. She says I felt very closed off. She could just tell that I just wasn't very open and bubbly and friendly person. But now we're best friends and basically inseparable. And she says there's been a night and day change in my personality. And it's intentionally working on things like this. It's been working on relationships and dealing with people. Now, I am a pastor's daughter. I thought that relationships was something I was really good at, especially with people that I didn't know. I was always around people I didn't know. We'd have new people come to church and we would take them out for lunch after. We would have missionaries come to church and we would take them out for lunch after. We would go on missions trips. Every vacation that I went on my whole life, wherever we were, we would find a church and we'd visit that church. So again, I was always around new people, new circumstances, having to adapt and relate to people. And I got relatively good at it for, I guess, a normal person. But for a person of influence, I had a long way to go. A long way to go. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, I'm already really good with people, or I'm already this, or I'm already that, if you are not diamond yet, then you have a lot to work on. And don't take that as a negative. That's a great thing, because the person that you're going to become on this journey, you're going to be happier, you're going to have better relationships, and everything in your life is going to feel so much more rich and full because of it. Now, there's 2 books. If you have not read them, I want you to order them as soon as we get off this call and start reading them. The first one's an old book, but it has so many great points in it. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's written by something Carnegie. I don't remember her first name. It's an amazing book. I read it when I first got started. It was super, super beneficial for me in my business. How to Win Friends and Influence People. The second book I want you guys to get and read, it's called Captivate. The author is Vanessa Van Edwards. It's really amazing. And this takes everything a step further, not just relating to people, but how even little subtle body languages that we have and things like that, how that can come across to other people and how we can attract people to ourselves, make them feel more comfortable with us, and again, gain influence with people. And that book was amazing read. So relating to people, something we have to become a master at. And none of these things are things that you have to be naturally good at. I was naturally horrible at this one. So believe me when I say that you can learn and develop any of these skills. So the first one was relating to people. The second one is, as people of influence, we need to learn how to raise people's ambition. Now, this is key. All of our posts also need to be centered around this somehow, raising people's ambition. Again, something positive to make them laugh, to make them want to be a better person, to inspire them, to make them want to live a better life, be a better person. We need to raise people's ambition. We need to be constantly challenging people to think better, to do better, and to be better. Not just to get by, not just to be mediocre, but to become better versions of themselves. And all of this isn't about being someone different than we are. It's about being our best self. And again, everybody in your life is going to benefit that. Your spouse, your kids, your parents, your friends, everyone in your life is going to benefit from you being the happiest, best version of yourself. People want role models. They want people that they can look up to, that they can aspire to. It gives them hope of a better life, a better version of themselves. So people are looking for role models, and that's what we need to become. I want you guys to think about role models. They're people who have influence over us, right? They're people that have a clear direction. You know, like if you think of role models, you know, again, what they stand for, because that's why they're a role model. And that's how people need to think of you. You need to have that clear message of what you stand for so people know, oh, and are they going to be my role model or not, based on what you are believing in, what your message is. And again, the good thing is we can all become a person of influence. We can all become a better person. If we don't give people someone to aspire to, then they're not going to want to follow us, right? Again, we can be stressing better health, time freedom, less stress, just challenging people to be better. People get stuck here with their excuses. They say, oh, I'm naturally introverted, I'm not a people person. Whatever excuse you're thinking of right now, because I know this sounds uncomfortable. I know this sounds uncomfortable because it was uncomfortable for me. But we have to get out of our comfort zones if we want to be successful, because success does not happen in your comfort zone. My comfort zone was like this big when I started. And I had to take baby steps out of my comfort zone. So I know that for a lot of us, this does not come natural, but the more you do it intentionally, then the more comfortable you're gonna be with it. Your personality doesn't pertain to whether you're a person of influence or not. It's not based on your personality. It's based on your attitude, but not your personality. What really we need to be doing is showing people that we value them, and we need to become their champion, their personal champion. So they feel like we're on their side. We know how they're feeling. We've been there in the trenches with them, and we can help them rise. I want you guys to take a second and think of the 2 people who have influenced your life the most. Who are 2 people in your life that have influenced you more than anybody else in your whole life. Think about that for just a second. Using my daughter's pink unicorn cup because she's not here right now. So think about the 2 people who have influenced you the most. I can't predict who you picked, but I can predict why you picked them. It's one of these 3 things that they influenced you on in your life, that you picked these people. Either they shaped how you think by their actions or their words. Somehow their opinion of life shaped how you think, how you see the world, how you judge others. That had an impact on you. Or they challenged you in some way. Maybe it was a coach who believed in you and knew that you could do better. Maybe it was a music teacher who, again, saw something in you and believed that you could be better. They challenged you in some way. Now, we get afraid to do this, right? We have people who join our team, and we're afraid to challenge them to be better because we don't want to hurt their feelings. We don't want to pressure them. But y'all, our role models did that to us. They said, I see something in you, and I know you can be better than that. I want more for you. And that's what we should do for our teams. We should tell them what we see in them and what we see for them for their future. Don't be afraid to challenge people. And another thing that our role models, people who influenced us, what they did for us is they modeled our character. Maybe they had really high standards or high values. They had something that we wanted to aspire to as far as attributes, character traits. Okay, so then the last point that I'm going to talk about here with people of influence that we are trying to aspire to become is they teach people how to think. Now, this is something else that we shy away from because in our society, we're so scared of setting standards. We don't want to offend anybody, so we don't set standards. We don't challenge people. But we need to be challenging people to rise, and we need to do it unapologetically. We need to be bold with our desire to help others be the best version of themselves. Now, it sounds confrontational, but it's not. It's not, I'm pointing out that you're wrong and I'm right. It's motivating people to excel. It's motivating people to go for their dreams, to step outside their comfort zone, to see the world in a different point of view. Use words of respect and not Use words of respect and don't be condescending. Condescension, that's what I was looking for. So use words of respect when you're talking to people, when you're challenging them to be better. It's not because there's anything wrong with them. It's because you see something so right in them that you want more for them. We can challenge their character to be a better person. We can challenge their contributions to add more value, to make a better future for the kids and generations that are following us. And we can challenge them and their connections and relationships with others. We want to make sure, again, we're always adding value to people. We need to give people clear and direct expectations of what is going to get them to where they want to be, what they should be aspiring to. So that goes back to clarity again. It needs to be a clear message. So becoming a person of influence, y'all, doing these things I talked about, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not like you're going to wake up tomorrow, you're going to be this inspiring person, and everyone's going to listen to you, and they're going to follow every word. That's not what's going to happen. It's going to take time, especially if you're someone who hasn't been posting on social media. You haven't been working on your relationships with people. You haven't been working to better yourself and to better your life. But that doesn't mean because you haven't been doing these things that none of this is possible. It's all possible. I started at ground zero. I started with no influence, very little Facebook friends, very little real life friends, super introverted, tiny little comfort zone. And I worked on myself. I stepped out of my comfort zone. I tried to overcome my fears. And that has helped me so much. And it's helped me touch other people's lives. It's helped me to inspire others. So don't think any of these things are things that, oh, I can't do that. I'm not that person, so I just better throw in the towel. No, it should inspire you that it's possible. It is possible. I know each one of y'all has in you what it takes to become a person of influence. And you are going to change so many lives and help so many people along the way. Don't be scared to go for what you want. So get those 2 books, start there. If you guys had any questions, let me know. I'm going to be doing, again, more studying, more research, more personal growth and development on this. Everything that I learn, I will bring back to y'all. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you guys have a great night. Bye, everybody.